Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, it's natural, it's alright, do 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 do. Hello, we are back for another episode of Manny Monday. I am Manny, and Manny Mondays is just a time for me to just talk about moments of epiphany or things that I learned throughout the week, and I share that with my family and friends. Every Friday, I upload a list of topics that I'm going to talk about on my Instagram, and throughout the video, I go through it on my iPhone, and I upload a video, of course, on Monday, hence the Manny Monday. But without further ado, let's get right into the topics. The first topic is it works for me. Now, this concept is something that I learned from my dad, and it can be applied to like anything in life, right? So I was having issues with my car window a long time ago. I think it was like I was having a Kia, and the Kia, at least the window, wouldn't roll up. No matter anything that I tried, it just wouldn't roll up, right? So my dad, when he goes over to the window and he tries to press it, he gives a little nudge and it goes up, right? He said it works for me, right? So when he presses it and he presses the button, it works for him. But when I go over there and I do like the same thing, it doesn't work for me, right? And I think like this, it works for me type of process, it can be applied to many different things in life, right? Where you just see somebody that's gambling, or you see somebody that's athletic and they just say like, hey, I do this certain thing. Hey, I get up at 6 a.m. every morning and shit just works. I'm on a hustle, I'm on a grind, and this is way that I reach the benefits or wherever goal I'm trying to achieve, right? And I think what I'm realizing is that everything a person gives us is a suggestion. And at the end of the day, we take bits and pieces from everything and all the information that we hear, and we find out what works best for us, right? There's no right or wrong way, you know? It always goes back to the saying of like, it works for me, right? So with my dad in the process of getting this window to roll down, he had a method in a way that it worked for him, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to work for me, right? And I think the beautiful thing about life is figuring out how do we get there. So you have a goal in mind. What do I need to do to get there? And what are the things that other people like suggest and stuff like that? What are some things that I like about that? I'm like, you know? And what things that I don't like him hitting it to get it to go down. I don't want to do that, right? So ultimately did get that window fixed, right? But it was mind-boggling too when he said like it works for me because I'm struggling with something, but he's like, oh, it's just so easy, like it just comes to me easy. It just doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. Second thing, order of business, second thing that I had on the list is stop feeling guilty. It's easy. Okay. I have to explain something when I say like stop feeling guilty, right? When I say stop getting guilty, I feel like we shouldn't feel guilty about things that are outside of our control, right? External factors, right? Like things that's gonna control. I'm gonna give like some example. Usually as an adult, if you go to the grocery store, what you eat, you have control over that, right? If you don't live in a food desert, if you go to the gym and you put 5 plates on each side and you decide, fuck it, I'm gonna lift it, right? And you so happen to crush your chest. That was an executive decision that you made, right? But there's other things that are outside of our control, especially like when you think about certain things like medical bills, like you went to the hospital, you needed to get something taken care of. Or when you think about unexpected illnesses, deaths, car expenses. Oh man, there's like so many things that just happens outside of our control. Just like, especially like when it relates to cars. When we think about other people are so unpredictable that we can think like, hey, if I do this person will behave this way. If I do due diligence and I invest in this person, I'm gonna read back on it. But like the stock market, unpredictable. People are external factors. We can do things that influence them, but they're ultimately external factors. And so when we consider that, and when I think about that, it's like I shouldn't feel guilty for it because it's like something that's out of my control. I put my best foot forward. I do what I'm supposed to do, or what I do is in my best interest. I'm doing things that works for me. You see, I'm going back to the previous one, right? But sometimes it doesn't pan out, and sometimes it does. But not feeling guilty about it, right? just owning the circumstance and what I can control. It was this quote from John Cena, but I'm also quoting Joe Hendry. He said that we need to, like, when we look over our lives and shit, just like look at the things that we have control over and then be able to maneuver from there, right? Because he was told Joe Hendry this, and he was talking about like the idea of like how he usually was waiting for, or like how often superstars, they wait for the moment when they have ideal circumstances to excel. I remember hearing from our interview with Ronda Rousey as he's talking about Logan Paul. He's like, hey, yeah, Logan Paul got it good because he has all these ideal circumstances in which he's able to excel. But even Ronda Rousey had a great career in the WWE, in my opinion. But like, even though we don't have the ideal circumstances in which we want to achieve things and do different things, what do we have within our control, right? You know, we gotta look at the glass half full instead of half empty, if you don't mind, right? That's just a food for thought. In 3, Rise of the Creators, especially like with me in my social circle, I'm noticing that a lot more people are getting into like the content creating space, and I think it's beautiful, right? Because like we forget that social media is social media. It's a social component to it. I don't think it should be weird when another person creates content or they want to do something, right? And to display that in its own unique way, right? I'm seeing someone do finance, I'm seeing somebody doing skits and different things, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and I hope that it continues. Like, even if you're seeing this video, I hope that you create content. I hope that you do something, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be what you see somebody else do. Just do what works for you, right? And I know like some things with like, it's like the audience and the algorithm, some things are like more clickbaity, right? Like if I did a panel with 20 odd women on the podcast or some shit like that, or I ate a very hot chip, you know, not dismissing any of that, right? But I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's certain things that you can do, but like, do you really want to do it, right? Find out what your niche is. I think like the whole la tema, or this whole conversation that I'm having with you all, or just I'm having with myself, is just finding what works for me, being okay with that, not feeling guilty about it, right? But also there's like some other just sub genres within that. But yeah, I'm excited, especially with all the new content that's coming out, especially like for people that are my peers, and I look forward to it, right? The music, the skits, the talks, all of that shit. And then lastly is closure. I'm gonna piss some people off on this, right? And I've talked about this with my close friends, and I'm just repeating this for whoever really needs it. This may even be uploaded in a separate video, just to drive the point home. Closure is overrated. Closure is overrated in the sense that, especially when I'm talking specifically in the relationship, that when we leave people, right? I'm recently reflecting on leaving someone around this year, around this time. I had to cut ties with somebody around this time, and the need for closure in the sense of like following up and doing due diligence and all this other shit is like, once you reach a certain point in a relationship or something where a person has showed you every indication that they don't respect you or they don't love you, what more do you need? You know, we could talk it out, we can do the theatrics of it all, if I were to call on Goffman. Yes, Goffman, with the theatrics and the backstage and the front stage and all this other shit. But it's like, okay, you don't give a fuck about me. You show me every indication that you don't, right? You don't respect my time. You don't respect my resources, right? What I bring to the table, you take, you don't give, right? Then at that time, it's like, I see where you're at, right? And I think when people earn for closure, they're trying to prove something whether to themselves or to that person, right? Try to make that person see the error of their ways. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it, you know? Sometimes you may get lucky. You may get that sense of closure. But then even in that, you still get unanswered questions. It's more so just wanting to get the final word. And I'm at a point, and I've been at a point, where I felt that closure was overrated. I don't need it. I don't need it. When things end, they end. And no one's to the point of like not replaceable, right? I know that's like a scary concept because like we see people, we love them, and we think like, oh man, we think the world of them, right? But then at the end of the day, like they're just human. You will love again. There's life. There's a zillion people in there. I'll be damned if you don't connect with one of them, right? You meet a zillion people, come back to me, tell me you need to connect with one of them, right? And I'm pretty sure I'm one of the people that you would connect with. You know, I just have a level of personality, right? But it's storming. I am tired. I want you to have a great day. Please subscribe. We are close to 50 subscribers. Like, share, comment. Let me know how you're doing, especially if you're family, friends. You guys are terrible of checking in. Please call me, text me, DM me. Even if you're viewing this for the first time, you can reach me at my Instagram on @MannyKillmonger or just comment below. How you doing? Check in. I keep saying this. I keep saying check in. I keep saying check in. One of these days, someone's going to check in. All right? Take care.